Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Station Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Robert chimes in. Chuck, you dig a hole, then you expect someone else to dig you out. Oh, that's a good way of thinking of that. I hadn't really thought of that like that before. Sometimes though I dig the hole and I dig myself out. I'm not afraid to do the dirty work on both ends.
Okay.
If I create a mess, then I'll clean up my mess. I'm usually pretty good about that. College Station Red Raider just says SMH, Chuck. Shaking my head. Dan in Dallas writes in this morning. Chuck, I thought of you last night when the announcer said, Federico! His game's so nice, they named him twice. Okay.
He did use that, yeah.
Okay. I think that's a compliment from Dan.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. So, you know me, I'm going to, if I can twist it to at least a compliment or at least a somewhat of a passing grade comment, I've tried to do that for us.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a shot at you.
Or, us in general. 6:33. What do you think of this report about the general manager of Texas Tech football, James Blanchard, potentially being the new general manager of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish for their coach Marcus Freeman?
What do I think of it?
Yeah, is there a lot of smoke there? Is there enough fire there? Do you feel like that's fait accompli?
I feel like if Notre Dame came calling to him, I'm assuming that they would have the kind of money that could talk him into heading there. Mm-hmm. We know the prestige that Notre Dame has. We know where they just ended their season.
Yeah. So runner up.
If the report is true that he's been offered, I would definitely be a little bit nervous that he'll be leaving. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think he's? How big a key do you think he's been? Because I know that there's a lot of publicity about him, and he was heralded as a great hire for Coach McGuire when he came here. You see his product. You don't know how integral that is, but I mean, in that position is becoming more and more thought of, as the person that goes out and helps evaluate the talent and has relationships with the coaches and helping, kind of being the boarding person, or helping with getting them on board of your program. I just, you think of this is a relatively new position, so I don't want to diminish it at all by any stretch of the imagination, because I think we were all excited. Oh, he's bringing James Blanchard with him. That's a pretty good get, pretty good hire. He's recruiting you, dude. And then when he leaves, like, nah, that wasn't that big a deal,
I mean, you've heard Coach McGuire speak glowingly about him, so I surely am not going to act like it's no big deal.
Yeah, I'm not.
But I also am not going to act like I think he's the reason that kids were coming here.
He might have been a good lead generator.
Sure. Or I mean, yeah, I'm sure he did a great job or whatever. But I think we're to the point where we can all admit, right, the majority are not coming here for a coach or their degree field or whatever. It's because of the amount of money.
Yeah, and I hope that's not the sole reason. I mean, and I hope it's a
combination of all things.
Yeah,
but it starts the conversation.
Starts the conversation. No question. This from South Texas Ambassador Preston. I think James Blanchard has done some great things, especially this portal cycle. But if we're being honest, wasn't there some things left to be deemed talent-wise on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that comment. Yes. So do we not? We don't look at the head coach for that?
Yeah, or
I know in the
coordinators.
NFL we don't. We talk about the general manager, but is that where we are in college sports? We don't. We look at. I mean, so
I don't think we're to that stage yet on college sports.
I don't think we are either. I mean, if we don't have enough talent and we're not developing players or whatever, I don't blame that on the GM. I blame that on the head coach.
And I think really
and blame's a strong word. I don't really mean to say it that way, but like to me, that's on the head coach more than it is.
Sure, they're the ones that are in charge of the program. They're the ones that are paid the most. They're the ones that they're the ones that are putting the stamp on it, the culture, everything.
Is James Blanchard the recruiter, or is Joey McGuire the recruiter?
Oh man, I think there's some column A and column B going on there. I think there's also he knows the type of player or the type of person that they're going after, and so his job is to help provide you with, hey, here's the top 3 receivers, here's the top 3 running backs or offensive linemen. Now you guys got to land them in the boat. Mm-hmm. And probably manages the roster from a money standpoint. I think it's a developing position, but I mean clearly. Notre Dame that just played for the national championship, if they want your guy, that's a good sign. It's not like it's, Slippery Rock or something. It's Notre Dame.
No, I that's why, again, I figure if he's offered.
It would even be awesomer if he would just stay.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry, man. You know what? I don't really want to uproot my family and go to South Bend. It's cold there. You guys get a lot of snow. It's traffic. It's hard to get in and out of the airport. Do you have the 5 or 6 staples of life that I need, in terms of the food groups? And I don't know what his food groups are. If it's, Mexican, pizza, fried chicken, got, hot chicken, cold chicken,
cold chicken. That's what everybody eats. A lot of cold chicken.
Do you ever have cold chicken? Do you not like it, cold chicken? Like you go to you get the fried chicken, and then you have some leftovers, and you put it in the refrigerator, and you go, man, I'm gonna go home and have a piece of chicken for lunch. I think cold chicken is right up there with cold pizza.
Oh, okay. I'll take your word for it. I'm gonna heat mine up.
Okay. And who knows? There's a question from Dan. What would Cody not protect the program by keeping James here, especially if the 3 have a great relationship? Well, I guess we'll find out if they pony up even more money for him to stay. So sometimes you just can't. Sometimes somebody goes, hey, that's just too great an opportunity for me professionally. I have to take this.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
2025 with this day in sports history. Here is Jeff McGuire.
1936. New owners of the baseball's Boston Braves survey a newspaper journalists to pick a new nickname for the team. They would be known as the Bees for the 1940 season.
The Bees.
They went back to the Braves in 1941.
Okay.
1958, Major League Baseball Commissioner Ford Frick announces that players and coaches, rather than fans, will vote for selections for the All-Star Game. The fans would not get the vote back until 1970.
And they
a
had
whole generation of kids didn't get to vote for their heroes.
Little punch card thing, too.
1983, in the Super Bowl, Rose Bowl, Pasadena, California, the Washington Redskins beat the Miami Dolphins 27-17. John Riggins is the Washington running back and the MVP. 1994, Dan Jansen skates a world record 500 meter at 35.76 seconds.
Finally wins the gold medal.
This is world championship.
Oh, world championship.
This is world record. This isn't at the Olympics.
It's at the Olympics, where he had tough luck.
The toughest of luck.
Yeah.
And there were, granted, this is the NBC story that they were pushing, but the relief when he finally got the gold after so many world champions and world records and never finishing podium even. Mm-hmm. Like he was the, how have you not won one yet? And it's because it only happened every 4 years.
He had the weight of the world on him too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 2021, down 7 with a minute to play. Number 10, Texas Tech goes on a 12-0 run to earn a 76-71 win over LSU in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Texas Tech finished the game with a 41-29 rebounding advantage. That's how you close out a game.
What year was that again?
2021.
Okay. Seemed like we played LSU a lot in those SEC challenges.
Yeah.
Man, there's some truth in that. It is National Croissant Day.
The problem with the croissant is
It's too fancy.
it's too flaky, and sometimes there's too much. There's too much
Pot, kettle. How are we doing today?
There's too much. There's too much substance there, and not enough, good stuff on the inside. Just give me a jelly donut. I think that's better than a croissant.
It's too fancy.
I like both of those things.
Happy birthday to Christian Bale, who turns 51 today. Jalen Rose is 52. Tom Izzo is 70. Davey Johnson is 82. And Phil Collins is 74.
Well done, Jeff.
Well done. I have a birthday too. It is the young phenom's birthday today.
Ah,
Sweet.
Yeah, so Noah Wayne Parker turns 12 today. Can you believe that? 12. He's not so young, but he's still the young phenom. Okay.
well, that's because you're the old phenom. He is always going to be younger than you.
That's true. I am the old phenom, and then we have the little phenom, but we have the young phenom who's the highlight today, turning 12. 12.
Awesome. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
And not a good day, 1933. President Paul von Hindenburg names Adolf Hitler leader or Führer of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or the Nazi Party, as Chancellor of Germany.
The Führer.
Told you it wasn't good.
No, it's not good.
That is this day in sports history.
6:49 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that, or the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Somebody writes in, don't think you're supposed to eat cold chicken. No, it's already cooked. It's leftover and it's in the refrigerator.
Yeah, cold leftover chicken is what Chuck is talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about
not uncooked chicken.
I'm not talking about going to the grocery store and getting the whole chicken and opening it up and you go, I think I want to take a bite out of that. You think I'm that? I mean, I know you think I'm dumb, people, but I'm not that dumb. Right?
Chuck is not that dumb.
I'm not that dumb.
I don't think
Somebody
you're that
needed
dumb.
to say it.
I think that I like my food heated up.
Okay. Somebody else writes in with regard to James Blanchard and Notre Dame. Notre Dame wants to tap more into Texas. I mean, I think people here are pretty aware of Notre Dame, don't you?
Yeah, but I'm sure it still would help that,
Right.
if you have
Grease the wheel.
you have a guy that knows people and has connections and relationships with coaches and all that good stuff, and
right.
agents, whatever.
Hey, this guy's interested. Do we know anybody at Notre Dame? Well, yeah, I know James Blanchard. He used to be at Texas Tech. Before that, he was at Baylor, and before that, he was, my neighbor down the street. We used to barbecue all the time, and he always had the coldest beer and the best burgers. Let me get you
chicken too.
Let me get you hooked up with him. Yeah.
Well, that's quite a story.
Yeah. Somebody says this, hi from San Angelo, Texas. Yes.
Hello, San Angelo.
Yeah, hello. Hello, San Angelo. Yes.
San Angelo, hello.
Heading there tomorrow.
Got
Roll out the red carpet.
little basketball action. You know what, if Fichtner were here, he'd say, oh, it's a basketball action.
You and Faker.
Action. I've spent a lot of time with him, man.
I mean, I feel like if we're
I don't know how much of him is rubbed off on him, but I can tell you we've got a pretty good routine going right now.
I feel like we need to get Fink on the show every now and then, just so he can defend himself for things that he may or may not be credited as saying from members of the show.
No, he's a solid human.
I didn't say he wasn't. Never once have I said he wasn't. But he may be getting credit for things that he would or would not do. Mm-hmm. And I think he should have the right to defend himself.
That is something he would have said. Oh, San Angelo basketball action. So we'll have a bevy of doubleheaders. Everybody should be happy tomorrow. We'll have the Friendship Girls and Boys on the air tomorrow from St. Angelo Central. Coverage at 6 on Double T 97.3. We'll take you all the way through the boys' final. Okay. We'll also have Liberty, the girls and boys. They're playing over at Estacado. Okay. 6:15 for the girls, and the boys to follow on 93.1 Yes FM. And then the Lubbock Cooper girls playing over at Monterey. Ooh, boy. That's a toughie for both the girls and the boys. I think the girls more so than the boys. 6:30 the broadcast time for Lubbock Cooper and Monterey from the new box on 100.7 the score, and then the boys to follow.
And when was the new box created?
Well, I mean, I want to say sometime in the 90s, early 90s.
That's the new box.
Yeah,
okay.
it's 30-something years old. But the old box...
I mean, Choice was born in the 90s. We don't call him a newborn.
That's what they call it. I mean, I think if you were to go over to Monterey today and somebody said to somebody, "Hey, where's PE today?" Well, we got it in the new box. Old box is getting the floors redone. Okay.
All right.
We're over in the new box.
Does the old box still exist?
Yeah.
Okay. If the old box still exists, I retract my joke.
You know.
They probably are referred to as the varsity gym and the JV gym.
No, I think
something like that.
Okay, all you mighty plainsmen, hit me up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. The mighty plainsmen. I don't know how else it goes, but I mean, all you folks out there that hail from the 50th and Indiana school, new box, old box. 6:54 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thanks for being with us.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
For being with us with Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. We get this from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. It seems like the injuries are going to keep Tech basketball from winning the big games coming up like Houston. Are you throwing in the towel already?
Yeah, I still hold out hope that Williams will be back for Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like this was a preemptive strike, so to speak.
Yeah.
To keep him off the court and off his feet for, he probably didn't practice on Monday and Tuesday, and so they're going to say, hey, we're going to give you 4 or 5 days of rest and see if you can be ready to go on Saturday. That'll be my guess, but of course there's a possibility that they may say, similar to what they did with JT Toppin, hey, you're going to sit for a week here, or you're going to sit for a week and a half. I don't know. That's possible as well, but I've not given up hope that he won't be able to play on Saturday.
Yes. Jamie, you can relate to this guy. My daughter plays 8th grade ball for a small school. So we've gotten a scenic tour of every old school gym built in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Lots of these gyms still have the player bench in a little cubby hole underneath the bleachers.
Yeah.
You probably like that, don't you?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. We've definitely played in some small ones, that's for certain. You stick your foot on the wall to be out of bounds and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
You ever played in one like that?
It seemed to me, yeah.
Like because there's no room out of bounds. If you were throwing it in, you had to put your foot on the wall. Okay,
so I have a question for you, and I don't. I mean, it's somewhat here and it's elsewhere. Do you think there should be a requirement by the Big 12 for there to be a certain amount of space between the start of the out-of-bounds line and where you either put chairs, scholarship row like what we have, or scores table, things like that, where media or the Hollywood type seats or the special seats, that premium seating. Do you think there should be X amount of space between where that line starts and where those chairs start? That it should be uniform in the Big 12, or even just in college basketball in general?
So are you worried about safety? Are you worried about that some teams give themselves an advantage by putting fans so close to the court that they can intimidate? I mean, what are we?
Well, I don't
What's
know.
our concern?
I don't know that it's just. I think you could claim it's a safety concern because I think that's a legitimate concern. Okay, but I think you could also say that it makes it harder for the referees to determine, getting the ball in bounds or getting just space in terms of running. When you get trapped in a corner or things like that, because. I mean, I think it seems to me like it's getting tighter and tighter along the sidelines in terms of there's not much space. Like last night at Allen Fieldhouse, there is hardly. I want to say it's over half, maybe even 3/4 into the out of bounds line, so that I don't know that the stripe is. I mean, it's tight. It's tight on both sides. It's tight with the benches, and it's tight. Because they do tables that go all the way down along the east side, and then on the west side they have the benches, and then they have the traditional scores table in between the two. It just seems like that was a really tight box last night, and it's getting tighter at our place too. With when you sit on scholarship row, I mean, you got to be careful that you don't stretch your feet out because you could trip a referee or a player pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, you make a lot of sense with that kind of stuff. Sure, I mean, it doesn't feel like you should be close enough that your feet hang over the edge of the court.
I mean, it's close.
Yeah.
I mean,
is this just because you were doing that once and we noticed you had a hole in your shoe?
No, that was
that was a while ago.
That was a while ago. That was 10,
Doesn't mean it
years.
didn't happen. Just means it was a while ago.
It was 10, 12 years ago, And
I don't know that it was that
Did you
long
get those
ago.
shoes fixed yet?
I don't have those shoes anymore.
Good point, Chuck.
I mean,
The best part of this story is that his wife got so mad at him about it.
I just hadn't had. I think it's one of those times in life where had other priorities, and I just sacrificed for myself. I'm like, what? I don't need a new pair of shoes today. And then some jackwagon takes a picture of me and then posts it. It's like, how would you feel if I did that to you? It was a.
I'm sure it was done with love.
No, it was a cheap shot, and it was.
Who's it by? David Collier?
No, it wasn't Collier.
I would also.
I wouldn't do that to anybody.
I didn't know this was such a.
I would pay.
A sore
It is a
subject.
sore.
I'm sorry.
It's a bit of a sore. It's a bit of a sore spot because it was embarrassing. It's like, okay, I had a hole in my shoe. Okay, I'm sorry. I wore the wrong pair of shoes to that game, or I just at that point in time, it's like, hey, you know what? Couldn't afford a pair of $500 pair of shoes, or whatever.
You have $500 pairs of shoes?
No. No.
Are they Jordans dipped in gold or what?
Yeah. Anyway, I like last night and what's happening is along the end lines and along the sidelines is I think it's making it harder on the referees to determine if somebody has stepped on the line or not, because there's like at Kansas last night. I mean, it is really, really tight, and has been for a number of years. And it's getting tighter and tighter along our sideline as well, especially with the scholarship rows and things like that. I mean,
I think you could probably back it off a little bit and be okay.
I just think there should be. I think it should be uniform.
The issues for the referees, is that something that Bill mentioned to you?
No, we didn't. We didn't have Bill last night.
Okay.
We had a guy. Man, we had a guy last night, Doug Knight. I mean, we were like 2-17 against this guy. I mean, we cannot win when this guy's refereeing
against this guy.
Yeah. We cannot buy a break. I'll just tell you this. The league has the league, and I'm not saying this is why they lost last night. The league has a certain number of plays that you can send in for review. Okay? I'm just going to tell you last night.
What's the number?
The number, I believe, is 10. Okay?
From one game.
From one game. Last night, there were 18 plays up for review. And I'm looking at it last night on the way home. I'm like, Yeah, that ain't a foul. Yeah, that ain't a foul. Yeah, that ain't a foul. That's a foul. Why didn't they call that one on them? And
you've already seen the list and the videos.
I have not seen the list. I don't know the list. I'm just telling you that there's about 18 plays from last night where they go, okay, why didn't they call it that way over here? Or that was a missed call. I mean, there was a ball that was kicked, okay? And it was like rolling a bowling ball right down the thing, and the referees didn't catch it. There's 3 of them on there. And the ball, it can't be dribbling and then all of a sudden just kind of starts rolling away without something happening.
Yeah. I mean, unless there's a heavy wind there in the old house.
No.
Isn't that what you guys call it there?
Field house.
The old house?
The field house. The field house.
The old house?
The field house. Anyway,
so
there was also a play.
House of Doom?
There was, no. There was
House of Doom?
No, we don't trick it up like that. Don't need to. Well, it's my alma mater. I think I can say that.
I'm just figuring out which we were talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, the bottom line is there was also a foul in the second half where I told Fink, I go, that's going to be on them. It's going to be on number 24. He's like, no, it's on Logan Johnson. And it should have been shouldn't have been even a foul at all. It should have been out of bounds off of Reagan Williams, and they called a foul. Logan didn't even touch her.
That's a little bit harsh.
Were they shooting the game?
Again, it's not why you lost the game. It's just it'd be nice if you had if when fouls were made that they would call them, okay? Because they're not calling them on one end, but they're calling them on the other end, okay? And if you've got enough plays that you're trying to determine, okay, of the 18 here, which are the 10 worst?
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen, we're talking Red Raider football here today.
Okay.
And my question is to you, what are 3 things that you are worried about for next football season?
3 things?
Completely wide open.
3 things.
3 things that you're worried about.
Okay. I'm worried that our expectation as a fan base will be very hard to satisfy when it comes to the actual result at the end of the day. Okay? I'm worried about the starting quarterback for the Texas Tech Red Raiders, given how much you've spent for all these transfers and how much the alleged payroll is for your football team this coming year. I mean, look, we all know it starts and ends with the guy behind center. And our guy behind center right now is dinged up. And, you know, we've heard, hey, be ready in the summer, be ready for the fall. I got it. But, I mean, when you have so much riding on your team and get into a Big 12 championship game, and you don't have a quarterback right now that's going to be your starting quarterback that's slinging it to all these new guys, I'm worried about that. And then number 3 is the talent that you bought. Are the groceries as good as the chef? Because sometimes you can go to the store and you can buy all the right ingredients and you can buy the best looking steak and then you can put it on the grill and whoosh, becomes a grease fire and then you've ruined it.
Okay.
Number 1, and it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, but we're just going to put it at number 1 for the sake of this. Your defense has to improve next year. That is the number 1 concern I have for the Red Raider football team. You've done a lot with transfers and incoming guys to make it better. You've got to be better on defense. And until we actually see it against an offense that's got a pulse, I'm going to be worried about the defense. Take all of those that comment, replace defense with offensive line. You've got to get better on your offensive line. You've brought guys in, and you've got guys that have been with the program for a while that you figure should be stars now. It's time for them to be stars and go push people away from things easily. dominate your will and make them not go places they want to go. I would like to see that from the offensive line, and until they do it against a team with a pulse, I'm going to be worried about the offensive line. And number 3, this is probably just me. I'm worried about your run game when they know you're running, you know you're running, and you need 1 yard. Or you need 2 yards. You have to get those, and you have lost a guy that was good at getting those for you.
You're allowed to replace him.
Sure, but until we see that, I'm going to be worried about the running game.
Okay. Number 1 for me is that it's not going to be easy to replace Taj Brooks. Okay? I think we have good young running backs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about their potential.
Mm-hmm.
I think he masked a lot of flaws along the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be number 1 for me. Number 2 for me, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, I feel like you're not just bringing in a bunch of guys to be on your, you're in your 2 deep.
Mm-hmm.
You're bringing in a bunch of guys to start immediately. How does that mesh together, A, with all these new guys,
Right.
and B, how do they mesh together with the old guys that are still around that they just leapfrogged?
Do you feel that way about sometimes our little group here? How we mesh the old guys and the new guys? How the new guys going to mesh with the old guys?
No, I don't usually bring in guys I don't think that will mesh with us.
That won't mesh with us.
That don't mesh well with us.
Don't mesh well, yeah. I didn't know if you ever worried about that.
No.
Well, Jamie didn't bring me in, so that's how we avoided that problem.
You sound so rational this morning, Jamie.
I sound so rational.
You sound your usual rational, well thought out Jamie.
And this is going to be shocking that I'm bringing this up and not Chuck. I'm worried that we have a new kicker, and we just kind of feel like the old one who was nails for us. He's gone. We'll just plug in another one.
Yeah.
And that we won't be as good.
I'm with you on that.
At that.
Mm-hmm.
I am not worried about the quarterback position as much as you guys because, A, I believe in our backup.
Okay.
All right. B, if you brought in a veteran backup to back him up, so your third stringer has started a bunch of games at the D1 level, and it feels like even if it took a little bit longer, that Barron could get there and could get back to being 100% and ready to go, even if it took longer than you want it to.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, I'm not worried as much about the quarterback position.
Okay.
I still, think we would be better off having Barron 100% healthy and ready to go and be your starter.
Sure.
Because I do think, man, it feels like you have to have 3 if you're going to be confident. And so I would love for that to be the case, but I'm not as worried about that right now.
Okay. So could that be a new saying? If you don't have 3, you don't have 1, as opposed to if you have 2, you don't have 1? Could that be a new saying for all the college football analysts and experts and pontificators?
Ooh, you want to run that by me again? What is it again?
If you don't have 3, you don't have 1, because if you have 2, you don't have 1. I like that. If you don't have. If you don't have 3, you don't have 1. But if you have 2, you don't have 1.
Math isn't working today.
Will you play that bite from Billy Madison, please?
I don't have it loaded. I'll have to grab it. But yes, I will find that, and it will come back with a boom, boom, boom.
Okay. Good. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No, I'll recognize it when I hear it.
Yeah.
Paul writes in, Jamie, the head coach at 97.3. Yep, Jamie's our head coach.
Something like that.
Yeah. He's got got a ball cap and everything that says head coach on it.
Sure he does.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you this morning from the First United Bank studio. Look forward to hearing from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. I do not understand the new arithmetic. It does not make sense to me when the phenoms start doing this. I'm like, why don't you just put 5 plus 3 is 8? Why do you have to do all the other geriatrics? Like 10 plus 20 is 30. Why do you have to do 10? I mean, it's like you're doing exercises. It makes my head hurt, and then they do the division, and how they do that now. It's like, but you got to show your work. 4 divided by 2 is 2. You don't have to go through 17 steps to get to that.
Where the steps come in handy, and I agree with you. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Mm-hmm. Where those steps come in handy is when you get exponentially more complicated numbers.
Okay, well.
That still holds true and becomes as easy as 4 divided by 2. Where the new math conversation is going, if you talk to like math people, that's how their brain thinks.
I think it's dumb.
When I'm like working left or right on a problem for like mathematicians, that's how their brain thinks. It's 5 plus 4 is 9, and then you got this over here, so this is going to make this a 10, and it's left to right and then backwards, how that brain works, which does make bigger numbers faster.
I personally do not know what you guys are talking about. I do not know the new math.
Well, there's a new way of adding and subtracting. But
I do know that over the course of time, I guess they didn't do it when you were there in school, Chuck.
What's that?
I know it was a while ago, but you always had to show your work, and there's a couple of specific reasons. Number one, they want to make sure you're doing it correctly, and number two, they want to make sure you're not using a calculator.
Well, I'm not.
You think that has something to do with it, maybe?
Yeah.
Although every math teacher I've
because
ever
are you
had,
truly learning if you just use a calculator?
No, I didn't have a calculator growing up.
I'm saying, but that's why they ask you to show your work, to show that you're doing it correctly and you know how to do it, and you're not just using the calculator.
What's wrong with just using? I mean, I'd never understood that either. It's like we've got all these tools. Why don't we use them? I mean, no. That's
not my argument.
And the other part of this,
I was told I wasn't going to have a calculator with me at all the time, and it's sitting right here on my phone.
Yeah, right.
And the other part of it is that
you got people who can't balance their checkbooks, and we're trying to help them build the semiconductor. It's like, how about you just do basic math, basic like 002 math, okay? 002 math will get you, a long ways in life,
Chuck is on the struggle bus with the grandkids' math, and he's only 12.
I don't know. Yeah.
He's in what grade?
Well, and the little phenom's not. He's not even in kindergarten yet. He's already got me upside down. No, big pa, it's like this. I'm like, no, it's like this. 5 times 4 is 20. What you got to do? Man, it just. Let's see. Damn, I agree with Chuck on this one. Why do people always say that?
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, this new math.
That's a new way of doing arithmetic.
I mean, my children have asked me to help, and I have no issues with...
The elementary math protocol changed about 7 years ago. I'm surprised your wife hasn't talked to you about it. I imagine that she's had to deal with it.
I mean, they get home and he's off playing with his Lego, and she's off reading books. They're in separate parts of the house.
Yeah, it's when you're doing 5 times 3, you draw 5 lines and then 3 lines that cross each other to figure out how you get it added together. When you're doing large numbers, that still works.
I guess
as opposed to memorizing 5 times 3.
I guess they've been doing it differently over at Friendship, because I've helped my kids with their homework, and I've never seen any of this.
Yeah.
Somebody says that's memorization, not math process. Just because you are 60 plus and have it memorized doesn't mean they aren't there yet. Well, again, I don't think they're going to be like physicists.
They're not doing hours upon hours of flashcards.
But you don't know.
They're phenoms. They're not going to be physicists.
Yeah. But you don't know,
you can't be a
and so you don't
physicist.
want to kill their opportunity to be that. You don't want them 10 years from now like, oh man, I wish I had spent more time being prepared to be a physicist.
Yeah,
could be making millions of dollars. Instead, I'm a talk show host.
Surely they'll be smarter than that. Surely they'll be smarter than that.
It feels like it's in their future with the stories you tell us about them.
Yeah. We get this. Chuck, they're too hard on you. You need to call them out more when they say things are things are off a little. I'm
he
Team
does.
Chuck all the way. Yeah.
He does. That we just don't do it as often.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because I do it quite a lot.
Somebody wanted to know earlier today. Man, we've had a lot of people today. I think that means we've done well today. Are you the type of salesperson that people give you a purchase order /sale just to leave? Chuck, no, I'm not. I'm not that nuisance salesperson. Here's a $200 order. Just go away. No, I'm not.
Oh, seems like it would work out well, though.
Maths are hard no matter how you do it. Chuck is on a heater today, it seems, though. Somebody take his soapbox away. On a heater. Agree, Chuck. I had to go ask my kid's teacher how to do it so I could help my kid. Yeah. I can do it in my head quicker than a calculator. Robert, yeah.
For some numbers, I'll bet that's true.
Mm-hmm. My mother-in-law retired as a math teacher because of the new stupid math. Chuck, at tech and math and engineering, you're screwed if you don't use a calculator. Right. That's why they invented them. Like we had TI out here in Lubbock for years. They made calculators. Mm-hmm. Help people be more accurate,
That's good.
Yeah. So I don't know. Sometimes we want technology, and then the other time, nope, you got to do it the hard way.
I think there's value in having our children learn how to count and multiply and all that without using a calculator too.
I understand. And there's nothing wrong with memorizing stuff either, I don't think.
No, I definitely don't think so.
You want confusion, man. I could give you some confusion, like this number I came up with yesterday that would have been the winning formula for Tech to beat KU. And my number was right on until the late stages of the fourth quarter.
Until it wasn't. Yeah.
I was right on. I'd come up with this number, and it takes me more than 30 seconds to explain it. But the bottom line is I was right on it. I mean, I was thinking, man, we're gonna win this game because my number's right there. And then
it wasn't.
And then it wasn't, because we didn't do what we needed to do, which was defend the paint. We didn't do that. So as a result,
I think it had more to do with you didn't make enough baskets.
Well, I had it. I see.
50 is really not enough.
I had it figured in that you didn't have to make a bunch of baskets because I knew that we've been struggling with that. Okay, but it always helps if you make more baskets.
Yeah.
It always, that's rule number one, I think. Make baskets.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.